In this video, I'm going to demonstrate some home exercise equipment. I'm a big fan of having some home exercise equipment because I think it just makes the exercise so much more convenient. And if exercise is going to work for you and you've decided that this is a lifestyle intervention you're going to commit to, then the exercise has to fit into your lifestyle rather than you fitting around the exercise. And home exercise equipment is a really good way to do this. Now, home exercise equipment has gained huge popularity, and this is great because it means there's loads of options. Home exercise equipment is super handy. So for example, you may not need childcare. You could get your dinner in the oven while you're on your piece of exercise equipment. I could go on and on. I just think it's so convenient and I really highly recommend it. So to that end, I'm going to show you a few bits of home exercise equipment that I think are both financially not too costly and are quite niche, so would fit into most homes. So the first is going to be a rowing machine. So I bought this rowing machine in Decathlon. It costs €189, and as you can see, it is very, very simple to use. It comes on little wheels, so you can wheel it in behind your couch when you're finished using it. It's very simple to open out. As I'll show you here, there's a red lever that you just unclip. The whole thing opens out. You have your seat and you see where you put your feet, and then you have the resistance of it. Now, it's not a fancy rowing machine. You can't gauge your resistance when you're on it. It comes with two resistances. There's the one on it and then there's a second rope, and it gives you very clear instructions on how to change the two ropes. And then when you're on it, make sure that you have the clip turned the other way so that it's secure. When you're finished, you unclip it and then you just put it away. So that's, I think, a very, very convenient little piece of exercise equipment that you could get for your home. The second piece would be a walking pad. So obviously the rowing machine covers your aerobic exercise, and the walking pad will also cover your aerobic exercise. So for this, again, you can see it's quite neat. It has a bar on it, which is helpful if you decide you want to jog on it as opposed to just walk. And the bar is handy if you feel like your balance maybe isn't as good as it could be. So that could be there for a little bit of security. But I'll show that you can actually loosen the screws at the side and bring the bar down. And by doing that, it could slide under your desk at work if you wanted, or it could slide under a couch. So that's another really useful piece of home exercise equipment. And I think that costs maybe about €250, and it probably comes at a number of different price points, but it's not hugely costly. The third piece of aerobic equipment that I'm going to quickly demonstrate is a step. So this is really handy for step aerobics. There's loads of videos online that you could follow along to. We'll include them in some of our upcoming exercise videos. It comes at 2 levels, and this costs €20 off Amazon. So that's another kind of handy piece of equipment for the home. What's really handy actually about a step aerobic exercise is that it mimics a lot of the daily activities you would do, like getting on or off a bus, requires obviously walking up on a step. So the next bit of exercise equipment I'm going to show you is more focused for balance. So here, this is called an Airex balance pad. I think this costs about €45. And what you would do is you would stand on it, and it just slightly challenges your balance. Now, in the exercise videos coming up, we're going to show you how to use this, but I think it's really handy. I think it's very safe. You can use it with a chair in front of you. So if you're concerned about your balance, you can always have that as a little bit of reassurance. And it gives a sufficient challenge to your balance that you're challenging it, which I think is a good thing. Another balance piece of equipment is called a wobble cushion. Now, this is a step up from the balance pad, so I will be a lot more careful about using this. It can be used like if you have, let's say, been diagnosed with peripheral neuropathy and you want to diagnosed with diabetes and want to prevent the onset of a peripheral neuropathy, you might use something like this. It's got two surfaces. One is slightly smoother than the other. You can choose whichever surface you want to use. You always need to use this with a chair. No matter if you are 25 and you have the most perfect balance that you could have, you still use this with a chair. Another great use of this actually, which we're not really focusing on here, would be if you had an injury such as an ankle injury or a foot injury as part of your rehabilitation, but maybe chat with your physiotherapist about that. The next last few bits I'm going to show you are more concerned with resistance training. So I have two very small weights here, very handy. One is half a kilo, this one's half a kilo, this one's a kilo. And we'll show them in the exercise videos. We'll use them for kind of dynamic balance, so you're doing something with your hands whilst you're maintaining your balance, but they're very light and very convenient to use and not expensive at all. And then the last bit is called a weighted vest. So you might have actually heard more about these in recent times because they've gained a lot of popularity. So they're very handy in terms of the amount of weight. This altogether is 5 kilos. That'll be an awful lot. So I wouldn't be wearing that if you've never worn one of these before. The weights are easy to remove, so you could even start at half a kilo if you wanted, or a kilogram. So it's really handy because, like, if you were, for example, on the walking pad and wanted to include a little bit of resistance training, you could put this on while you're on the walking pad, so you could combine the two. Now, I think overall the cost of all of this equipment was probably maybe about €500, and you wouldn't even need all of it. You would only need one of the pieces of aerobic equipment, and then you could maybe just get the Airex balance pad. Like I said, the Wobble cushion is a bit of a step up if you are interested in that. And again, I think that costs about €20. So I suppose I wanted to demonstrate in this video that actually home exercise equipment is both not particularly costly and is hugely convenient and won't actually take up a huge amount of space. So what I'll do is I'll put a list of all of the bits of equipment I've demonstrated in the description of this video, so that if you wanted to get any of it, you'd know where I had bought it and the cost.